Hello, night owls, and welcome to Shadow Sleep Stories. If you're looking to relax, unwind, or drift off to sleep, you've found your sanctuary. Before tonight's tale begins, make sure to like, subscribe, and share in the comments where in the world are you listening from. Now, settle in, close your eyes, and let the shadows guide you into the story. The rain hammered down like judgment from above as Jake Harlan pulled his battered sedan into the gravel lot of the Sunset Motel. It was well past midnight, and the neon sign flickered erratically, vacancy pulsing in blood-red letters against the inky sky. He'd been driving for 12 hours straight, fleeing a messy breakup in Chicago, heading west toward nothing in particular. Exhaustion clawed at his eyes, and the storm had turned the highway into a treacherous river. This dive off Route 66 looked like salvation, cheap and anonymous. The lobby door creaked open with a reluctant groan, bells jingling faintly. Inside, the air was thick with the musty scent of old carpet and stale cigarette smoke. A lone clerk slouched behind the counter, an elderly man with sallow skin and eyes like foggy marbles. His name tag read Earl, pinned crookedly to a faded uniform. "Room for one?" Earl rasped, not looking up from a yellowed ledger. "Yeah, just for the night," Jake replied, slapping his credit card down. "How much?" $40, cash only after 10. Earl's voice was a dry whisper, like leaves scraping concrete. Jake fished out the bills, noticing the clerk's hands, veined and trembling, nails yellowed and cracked. "Room 7, end of the row." Earl slid a key across the counter, its brass tarnished. "Quiet hours start now. No disturbances." Jake nodded, grabbing the key and dashing back through the rain to unload his duffel. The motel was a single-story L-shaped building, maybe a dozen rooms total, with peeling paint and rusted railings. A few cars dotted the lot, an old station wagon, a pickup with flat tires, a sedan coated in dust. No lights in the windows, but that made sense at this hour. Pushing into room 7, Jake was hit by a wave of damp chill. The bed sagged under threadbare sheets, and the TV was an ancient box with rabbit ears. He stripped off his wet clothes, showered in lukewarm water that sputtered from the faucet, and collapsed onto the mattress. Sleep came fitfully, haunted by the patter of rain and distant thunder. It started with the noises. Around 2 a.m., Jake jolted awake to muffled voices seeping through the thin walls, laughter, low and echoing, from the room next door. Then footsteps, shuffling, uneven, pacing the walkway outside. He rolled over, burying his head in the pillow, chalking it up to insomniac neighbors. By dawn, the storm had cleared, but a heavy fog clung to the ground like a shroud. Jake emerged, bleary-eyed, craving coffee. The lobby vending machine was out of order, its glass front smeared with grime. Earl was gone, replaced by no one. A sign read, "Back in 5, but the dust on it suggested otherwise." Wandering the lot, Jake noticed the cars again. The station wagon's windows were fogged from the inside, as if someone had been breathing on them. He peered closer, empty, but the seats were stained with something dark. Shaking it off, he decided to stretch his legs before hitting the road. That's when he saw her, an old woman in a floral dress, sitting on a plastic chair outside room 3, knitting what looked like an endless scarf. Her needles clicked rhythmically, but her eyes stared blankly at the horizon. "Morning," Jake called, forcing a smile. She didn't respond. Up close, her skin was pallid, almost translucent, veins mapping her arms like rivers on a faded map. A faint odor wafted from her, sweet and rotten like overripe fruit. "You all right?" he asked, waving a hand. Slowly, her head turned, lips parting in a toothless grin. "Stay a while," she croaked. "We all do." Jake backed away, unease prickling his neck. In room 5's window, a curtain twitched, revealing a man's silhouette, stocky, unmoving, watching. Back in his room, Jake packed quickly, but curiosity gnawed at him. Why did the place feel so off? He knocked on room 6's door. No answer. Tried the handle, unlocked. Inside, the bed was made, but clothes hung in the closet, covered in dust. A suitcase lay open, contents untouched for what looked like years. On the nightstand, a newspaper dated 1987, headlines screaming about a local tragedy. Motel massacre, poison gas leak claims 12 lives. His blood ran cold. He slammed the door, heart pounding. That couldn't be right. The motel was still operating. Earl had checked him in last night. Venturing further, he approached room 1, the manager's quarters. The door was ajar. Inside, papers cluttered a desk. Guest logs yellowed with age. Flipping through, Jake saw entries stopping abruptly in 1987. Names, dates, all crossed out with a single line. Deceased, but then fresh ink at the end, his own name. Jake Harlan, room 7. No checkout time. A chill wind gusted through, slamming the door shut behind him. Locked. He rattled the knob, panic rising. Through the window, he saw them. The guests. The old woman still knitting, now joined by others. A young couple from room 4, hand in hand, faces gaunt and expressionless. The man from room 5, now outside, staring with hollow eyes. A child peeking from room 8, giggling silently. They weren't moving, just existing, watching him. "Earl!" Jake shouted, banging on the glass. No response. He forced a window open, tumbling out into the fog. The air was thicker now, carrying whispers, indistinct murmurs that coalesced into pleas. "Stay. Join us." He sprinted to his car, keys jingling, but the engine turned over futilely, battery dead. Impossible. He'd driven in fine last night. Popping the hood, he found wires chewed through, as if by unseen hands. The guests approached slowly, their footsteps silent on the gravel. The old woman's scarf trailed behind her like a noose. The couple's hands dripped with something viscous, leaving dark trails. The child's laughter echoed unnaturally, too deep for a kid. Jake bolted toward the highway, but the fog disoriented him. He circled back to the motel unwittingly. There in the lobby, Earl waited behind the counter, unchanged. "What the hell is this?" Jake demanded, bursting in. Earl looked up slowly, his foggy eyes clearing for a moment. The Sunset Motel, last stop for the weary. "Those people out there, they're dead. This place killed them," Earl chuckled, a wet, rattling sound. "Not the place, the gas. Faulty heater in 87. They checked in, never checked out. I stayed to manage." "You're one of them," Jake realized, backing away. Earl's skin sloughed slightly as he moved, revealing gray flesh beneath. "We all are," Earl whispered. "You smelled it last night, the sweetness in the air. It's in the vents, slow, painless. By morning, your family." Jake's vision blurred, a metallic taste flooding his mouth. The rain last night. No, not rain. The vents in his room had hissed faintly as he slept. He lunged for the door, but it locked with a click. The guests pressed against the windows, faces smeared against glass, mouthing, "Stay." In desperation, Jake smashed a chair through the window, shards cutting his arms. He climbed out, running blindly into the fog. The highway should be close. He heard distant traffic horns. But as he ran, the motel loomed again and again, an inescapable loop. His lungs burned, each breath shallower. The whispers grew louder, names of the dead calling him. Finally, collapsing in the lot, Jake saw them surround him. The child tugged his sleeve. "Play with us." Darkness closed in, sweet and final. When dawn broke, the neon sign flickered on. No vacancy. Jake's car joined the others, dust already settling. And in room 7, a new guest log entry. Eternal stay. But wait, that wasn't the end. Days blurred into eternity. Jake awoke in his room, the same damp chill. He wandered the halls, knocking on doors that opened to empty beds. The guests were there, but not echoes, repeating routines. The old woman knitted forever. The couple argued in whispers. The child hid and sought, never finding. He tried to leave, but the door led back inside. The highway was a mirage. Earl greeted him each night, the ledger growing with phantom names. One evening, a car pulled in, a weary traveler, just like him. Jake watched from the shadows, whispering, "Turn back." But the man checked in, oblivious. As the vents hissed, Jake realized the horror. He wasn't just dead, he was the trap, luring the living to join the eternal check-in. The motel fed on them, growing stronger with each soul. And now, Jake was part of it, forever vacant, forever full.